And welcome to another episode of the WealthRabbit podcast. My name is Charles.
My name's Jason.
My name's Adam.
Welcome.
Bad bunnies. They're back.
Welcome back.
All the bunnies.
Oh.
You know, they multiply. That's why
That's the beautiful
last
thing about
time we
it.
had 3 listeners. Now we've got 6.
With compound bunnies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's the power of
Ask your parents about it.
power of bunnies.
Woo.
Love it.
All right, we're starting off hot.
Yeah.
Producer Caleb's here, but he's not allowed to speak yet.
He's about to restrict us from speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the bleep
He's
button
beeping everything.
ready.
All right.
When are we getting sound effects? We need like,
Boing.
yeah, Caleb. That's time.
I mean, we need a tray of carrots I can just munch on through this entire.
Oh, what if we?
Oh,
man,
my God.
we're missing out.
What's a Bud's Bunny?
See, this is why. I mean, this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
The first
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
episodes. I
What
don't know
are we
what you
doing?
guys even
Yeah.
did without me.
We're just
I don't want you guys to just. You guys will just hear the bad bunnies will just hear me chewing the entire time.
What are we talking about today, Charles?
Yeah, so we're talking about the different types of investments you can make, whether they are traditional or Roth, and that could be in a simple IRA or a 401k, correct?
That's right.
Correct.
All right, fantastic. So we've covered some of this briefly, but we haven't had a whole episode devoted to it. So it's talking about the difference between a Roth and a traditional. So Roth is a post-tax contribution, traditional is a pre-tax contribution. And let's talk about why one may be preferable to the other in certain scenarios.
So traditional, like you said, you get a deduction now. The money grows tax-free. And then when you take the money out, you pay tax.
Mm-hmm.
Roth, you don't get the deduction now. Grows tax-free. And then when you take the money out, assuming you didn't take out early and
Right.
59 and a half.
yeah, you don't pay tax.
Gotcha.
So
And for the bad bunnies out there that maybe don't understand what he means by tax deduction, let's say, to keep numbers simple, let's say you make $100,000. If you put $5,000 into a pre-tax simple IRA or pre-tax 401k, you only have to pay tax on $95,000 because you defer that $5,000. Roth is the exact opposite. Roth means you make $100,000, you put $5,000 in, you have to pay tax on all $100,000.
Paying the tax now, but it's growing tax deferred or tax.
Correct. So pre-tax, when you put that money in pre-tax, it then grows tax deferred. But when you take it out in retirement, you then have to pay taxes on what you put in
Right.
because you deferred that and the earnings,
Gotcha.
hopefully earnings.
It's really a brilliant tool, right? I mean, the being able to do Roth as you start early and things like that. I mean, it seems like the clear.
it's brilliant.
It seems like a brilliant. Like it seems like the clear winner in most scenarios.
Let's
for
talk
me.
about when Roth came
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah,
Okay, 'cause it's
Caleb,
not been around forever.
figure out who the guy was.
Oh,
His
it
name
was.
is-
I think it was a
Philip
senator.
Roth.
It was
The guy-
a senator from
the guy-
Nebraska, I believe, right? In like 2000, mid 2000s.
David Lee Roth.
Sir David Lee Roth.
Sir David Lee Roth.
I don't think it was David Lee Roth.
Okay, all right. You guys could tell me.
I want to
don't
say
know.
it was a senator,
William Roth.
William
of
Roth
Delaware.
Of Delaware.
What
okay.
year?
97.
97. Mid 2097.
So tell us the
You're
story.
close.
Well, the story is he was a congressman.
He probably had a lot of money and was like, I need a way to shelter this.
yeah. Yeah.
But
or
really,
no, it was probably he wanted to help the people.
yeah, because really, if
constituents,
you're
you know?
not, if you're making, $50,000, $60,000, you're in a low tax bracket. So if we can get money into an account that's growing tax free, and then when you retire, you don't have to pay tax on it, that's very good.
Right. Yeah. Because when you get back to the underlying principles of one of these things, you're putting money into it. The goal is you're not going to touch this thing until you said
Retired.
59 and a half.
59 and a half is
59.
that number to where you avoid a 10% penalty.
Right. So, I mean, for young people in the workplace, that's an enormous amount of time. That's going to be 40 years potentially in the market. Like, so, I mean,
Yeah.
run
You should make a lot of money.
You can
in
run
that
an
time.
investment calculator on that. Of course, we can't guarantee anything, but like in general, you're going to see some incredible returns. If you're
Yeah, I
investing
mean,
for that
I think.
kind of time.
Well, you guys want to cover Roth or pre-tax first because I think that's. You want
Charles, you pick.
Let's start with traditional.
Okay, traditional.
Great
okay.
choice.
Phenomenal choice. Tremendous choice. So pre-tax, when you want to do a pre-tax contribution, in your mind, you're going to say, hey, I'm in let's say you're in the 24, 32% tax bracket. In the future, when I retire, I'm going to be in a lower tax bracket than I am now. So you're going to get the tax deduction at a higher tax bracket, present day. And when you take it out in retirement, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket. That is and I'll have the CPA correct me, but that is the thought behind
Yeah, that's
pre-tax.
that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing traditional or Roth, you're thinking, what's my tax bracket now? What is it going to be later? You don't always know that.
Gotcha.
But I would just say
can-
general rule of thumb.
Generally, you can assume.
I would
that
say
you're gonna
like
lower
for me, it's based on age,
Yeah.
and it's based off of the tax bracket that you're in. So if you're in the 32%, I would tell people like you should be at least in the 32%, assuming you're young. Like if you're 65 and you're in the 24%, you don't have that much time for growth. So, but yeah, that's what you're thinking about.
Yeah. So, how much time you have left in the workplace? How much
Until
time
you're
you
gonna
have
touch
into
the
your
money.
earning years.
Yeah, I mean, and typically when I talk to folks, if as long as like Jason said, you're not in the highest tax bracket or in the 30 plus, if you're under 50, Roth typically makes sense.
Yeah.
That's kind of my. I mean, there's no
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Fools,
there's a lot of we don't know what the tax brackets are going to be in the future. We don't know when you're going to die. There's a lot of variables. We don't know how the performance is going to happen in that. But like Adam said, that's a good rule of thumb.
There's traditional or Roth. You think people think that traditional should be the default? However, I mean, to me, it seems like Roth should be your default unless you're in certain situations.
traditional is typically the default in a plan.
Yeah.
So there's new Secure Act 2.0 rules that in 401ks that if you create a 401k, there's rules where you automatically have to go into the plan. And if you don't pick what you're going to do, it's going to default to pre-tax. So that is typically the default in most plans. But going back to, sorry to interrupt you.
No. It's interesting that
Don't ever apologize to Charles on this podcast.
Producer Caleb, please.
That's rule number one of this podcast.
no apologies.
No,
ever.
no apologies.
No apologies.
Okay.
I'm
sorry.
No apologies.
I'm sorry. I said
no,
sorry.
No, I will not have it, Adam. Not in this room. No apologies. No.
Take that
excuses.
outside.
Get those apologies out of here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It just kind of seems to me like your starting point should be the
Yeah,
Roth.
for most young people, a Roth is a no-brainer.
Like you said, under 50. I mean, in general, Roth makes sense unless you're near retirement.
I mean, even some of our clients who are, in the highest tax bracket, if they're,
I'm just
Roth
wondering.
still made sense.
Roth still makes sense because let's say you're 45 and you're in the highest tax bracket and you put $16,500 into the SIMPLE IRA.
Yeah.
That's going to save you what, $7,500 in taxes, roughly $7,000 in taxes over the next 25, 30 years. No guarantees on this podcast, but you're going to make a hell of a lot more money from that 16.5.
Yeah, you're worrying about making
compounding interest and investment gain than what you saved in taxes.
Yeah, you're getting a small advantage now over, and you're sacrificing what could be massive gains in the future. I'm just wondering if, in general, the way that's portrayed, the way they're named and treated, kind of seems like, well, there's two separate options. There's traditional, and then there's this other thing called Roth. People might default to think like, oh, well, I should probably be traditional, unless I'm in some kind of weird special situation. But it's really the other way that you should be.
Maybe it was a senator and his last name was Traditional.
Traditional. That's what
Producer Caleb, can we get a little research?
I think he was from Montana.
it was. Yeah, it was Mr.
Texas.
Traditional.
He was Texas man.
Mr. Traditional here.
Mr.
We will create
Traditional.
this plan. It was back in the 70s.
Well,
when,
they call it traditional because that was the only thing that was available, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, exactly.
It was just a 401k
Until
or
the-
Simple back then. I don't know when Simples came into account. Producer Caleb, Doodle. Producer Caleb's working.
Yeah. Jason's kind of working hard.
Yeah, I got him.
He did not sign up for this
He
today.
didn't work this hard the first 5 episodes.
Yeah.
This is mainly becoming a research podcast.
Yeah.
where we just spit out facts.
96 for Simples.
Yeah, so it was about the same time.
96. What was that? Was that Jordan's
Oh, the
4 championship?
How were the Bulls
Yeah.
doing? They were doing pretty good.
That was
that was
the Yankees beat the
Braves.
The Braves.
So were you a Braves fan? You're a Yankees fan?
No,
How does that work?
We actually went to a World Series game that year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And we sat in front of these or behind these people that were just like complete degenerate blackouts.
Yeah. So basically us now. If you,
You saw your future. You were like,
Like,
this
go
is
Braves, go Braves, go Braves. Like over just with beer everywhere. And that's my lasting memory of that game.
was that
and the
a-
Braves
Was that a
lost.
Southern accent you were doing?
It was a
That
Braves
was
that time.
Okay, it was a Braves.
Yeah.
Go Braves. Go Braves. I felt a little British or something. I don't know.
We have a lot in common.
Yeah, we do. We do.
The Southern people and the British.
That's true. That's true. You can do analysis on it. It's like
Yeah.
it's just a slowed down British accent. Yeah. Who was pitching that game? Was it Greg Maddox? Smoltz?
It might have been Glavin.
It was a very close. It was like a
was
1 to
1-0.
nothing.
Yeah,
it was a pitching duel.
It was why baseball's dying. Is basically
in 1996.
yeah, there was no runs.
There's
Yeah.
no run. It's like a 5-hour long game.
Which game was it? Do you want me to look it up?
Games.
It was game 5 because we wanted the Braves actually won the first 2 games, and
No, it's game 3.
No, it was game 5
right, well.
because the Braves won the first 2 games, and then we needed the Yankees to win 1 game so that we could go to the game, and it was game 5, and then the Yankees ended up winning the Nets 4, and kind of circling
Pretty sure Caleb will tell us, but I'm
and circling
just
back
like
to Aggie,
just like the last podcast. 16-5. I don't know if
Yeah.
the listeners, the Bad Bunnies, heard that. I'm going game 3.
the bad no, it was definitely game 5, and the
Game 5 was
Who pitched?
1-0
yeah.
to the
Who
Yankees.
pitched?
Oh, okay.
Smoltz, John Smoltz. But that was actually the first time that our parents flew us down on like a little jet,
Oh,
a private jet. It was the
Just
first
the two
time.
of you, or
No,
like your whole
it was
family
our
went? Oh, the whole
family.
family.
They rented it with a
Nice.
couple other people.
Nice.
And Adam got to ride in the cockpit on the way down.
I did.
And
did.
I was supposed to ride on the way back, but I fell asleep. And I was so mad when I woke up because I didn't get to ride in the cockpit.
I actually flew the plane. I'm not sure. If,
what? He was, like,
He was 8 years old.
yeah.
What else do we
So
want to know
you
about
guys are-
traditionals and
Yeah,
Roths?
totally relatable guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
We did not ride on a. That was the last time.
Yeah.
Next time we walked.
I was like, we had very different childhoods.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's when we came up with a simple idea
and that's
on that plane.
Simple idea.
Yeah.
About the Bad Bunnies.
So much lore.
So much lore. So much lore. Come for the finance, stay for the lore. So we talked about situations where a traditional makes sense and situations where a Roth makes sense.
And
And you can also do a combination of both too.
Interesting.
You could also do.
Where would you advise someone?
Yeah, if
to
you're
do
one
that?
of those people who just can't.
You can't make up
Can't-
your mind.
can't
Yeah, you
decide.
can't make up
yes,
your mind.
Yes, please both. Yes. So what, you
Yeah.
can just have.
Well, there's some
partial.
theories
This-
that like tax brackets are very low, like relatively low now. They could be a lot higher when you retire.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of a hedge.
Yeah, and kind of when you actually take this money out, some people they actually need their IRAs in retirement. Sometimes people don't need their IRAs and they have other investable assets that they can pull from. The government starts making you take what's called an RMD out, and what that
Required.
means
Required
minimum distribution, which Uncle Sam is getting their money. They for the pre-tax money you deferred, Uncle Sam is calling to get his. So in retirement, you're on Social Security, you probably have Medicare. Depending on your income, some of those bands of how much you have to pay for those can go up and down. So there's just different tax strategies to think about in the future.
Fantastic.
It
And
gets
with
complex.
it does get complex. So you can too hot, too cold. You can go the Goldilocks strategy, get a little bit of both.
Before we go back on that, there is if your spouse is a lot different in age than you. So if you're the man and you're 60 and you married a 30-year-old, if your spouse is a way different age than you, there could be a play to have one of them do traditional, one Roth.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, what we're saying is there's no one size fits all of hey, you're under
There's
50.
no right
do
or
Roth.
wrong.
Yeah. It's all dependent on your personal situation, which is kind of why WealthRabbit exists. Is you can this was built by two CFPs, certified financial planners, where you can get that advice.
We want the options. And what's cool about Simples, starting in 2025, when our Bad Bunnies are listening to this, maybe, I mean, they could be listening later, I guess, but
They'll be listening for years.
Roths are now available in Simples. This is the first year.
Yeah.
And
Brand
we're
new.
going to be first to market on that, which we're very excited about. Should come out in the next month or two.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. That the Roths.
Roth and Simples was not a thing.
That was
this
not a
is
thing.
just a
So last year, the distant past of
Was that the
2024,
simple Secure 2.0? Was that a
Yeah,
thing? Or was
Secure
that something
2.0.
else? So you'd have to do
It
a whole
allowed the
episode on
Roths.
Secure. Good stuff.
let's wrap this up.
Let's wrap it. We'll be right back.
The WealthRabbit podcast is a production of WealthRabbit, located in sunny Rock Hill, South Carolina. WealthRabbit is the first digitized platform designed to make simple IRA management effortless. We're on a mission to empower small businesses to invest in their team's financial future without the headaches. No hidden fees, no complicated processes, just retirement planning made simple. Go to wealthrabbit.com now to learn more. The views and opinions expressed on the WealthRabbit podcast are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect or state the opinions of WealthRabbit. Comments and remarks on this podcast should not be construed as tax, legal, or other investment advice. Please consult your tax, legal, or investment professional. All investments involve risk. Past performance does not guarantee future results, including the risk of loss. Investments are not FDIC insured.